At dawn, before most of Chicago has stirred, a group of people leave their homes for the office. Their destination, 222 Riverside, Union Station, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They are the commodities traders. An auction, a gambling den, or even the stock exchange. This is business as usual at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and the people who play here play what is probably the highest risk game in the country. At 39, Jack Sanders, the chairman of the board of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. His rise has been called meteoric by his peers. At 47, Maury Kravitz has traded 10 times the gold owned by the United States government, more gold than anyone else in this country. Marshall Wright is an architect, engineer, inventor, and 5-year trader, a co-founder of a new corporation, SKW. Beverly Daniels is the only woman to build her own commodities corporation. She built it here in Southfield. These people live and breathe one of the fastest growing money-making industries in the country. They trade live cattle, pork bellies, lumber, foreign currency, silver, and gold. Delivery, the future. They are survivors in a market where 80% who trade lose their money. A good day nets as much as $150,000. A bad day, they can lose that much.
There's a lot of rags to riches stories in this business, and there's a lot of riches to rags stories, and there are more rags to riches, riches to rags, rags to riches, riches to rags, which means that a lot of professionals in this business go up and down the ladder quite a bit, and to large amounts of money.
There are people on the floor who probably swing maybe $200,000 a day, $250,000 a day. And I have known of instances down there where people have made upwards of, say, $1 million in one day.
There was a young man, and this sounds like a limerick, but it's not going to be, who started trading on the Mid-American Exchange with only $500, when gold and silver were low. And in a matter of 5 months, he had $25 million.
Survival here demands a keen intellect, stores of knowledge, a feel for the market, and the ability to balance one's fear with one's greed. Marshall Wright is one of 1,300 men and women who own privileges in this exclusive club. And the cost of a membership, right around $250,000. But what does that membership really mean? We'll find out tomorrow in my next report. Deborah Conklin, News 4, Detroit. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange is one of the largest commodities exchanges in the United States, and it's expanding. Last year, the total number of contracts traded was up 10%, and the year before that, 31.5%. Commodity trading in all U.S. exchanges topped 90 million contracts last year, double the number traded just 3 years ago. That incredible growth has some experts worried. They say the small investor, who really can't afford to lose, is footing the bill. And while that may be true, traders insist the futures market is not meant for everyone. Maury Kravitz, the #1 gold trader in the country.
So it requires not just a financial profile, and certainly a man who is out of work, or a man who's looking to educate his children, or a person who's on a very fixed income and has identifiable budgetary problems. This is not the activity for him. He must go elsewhere.
If the small investor is lured into the market, this is the reason why. He can invest on margin or deposit. For example, an investment of, say, $1,500 entitles you to the profits of the sale of $1 million in U.S. Treasury bills. You are also responsible for the losses. And it takes only a matter of seconds.
Commodity trading?
A typical trade can start at home in Detroit. You phone in an order which gets hotlined to the floor of the Merc. There a runner hurries it to the pit. He or she hands it to a member or trader. A trader wears a red coat, or black, or orange, anything that sets him apart from the crowd. He trades by open outcry and hand signals. He sells, hands out. He buys, hands in. In the pit, he's known by his trading name: Sage, Farm, Hat, Gulf, Rio, Kid, Zoo. The results must balance at the end of the day. If not, in come the greencoats. They are the outtrade clerks. They settle disputes between traders where a simple mistake can cost $30,000. Trade complete, the bluecoats employed by the exchange punch it into the computer. It hits the big board immediately, as well as the ticker tapes in offices all over the country. The traders of the commodities, gold, T-bill, lumber, cattle, pork bellies, describe themselves as true individualists, as survivors in the survival of the fittest game.
It's murderous. The men are much larger and they're very aggressive. We fight just like they do, but they're physically much larger and you get pushed and shoved.
Can you be as successful, though? Can you be as effective?
Absolutely.
You cannot expose your vulnerability in the pit. As soon as somebody senses you're vulnerable, as soon as even though you're a lion of the jungle, if you're sick and you're dying, another lion or another animal is going to sense it immediately. It's going to kill you. Same thing happens there.
Trading at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange lasts from 7:30 in the morning till 1:45 in the afternoon. After that, the trader must leave the floor, but he seldom leaves it behind. Tomorrow, Marshall Wright, After Hours. Deborah Conklin, News 4, Detroit. This is the money game at its highest intensity, and the people who play here are money masters, not because they win all the time, but because they can win big and lose big and still come back for more. A 5-year commodity veteran, Marshall Wright leads a good life now. Not that it hasn't always been good, it's just a bit more comfortable these days. Once a successful architect, he designed and constructs the apartment he shares with his wife, Andre. Working with his hands is one way he relaxes from the hours in the pits, where a good day can mean $25,000 to $30,000, and a bad day hurts.
The first 60 days I was on the floor, I never had a losing day, and I just, was just doing really good. On the 61st day or so, in 3 days, from the 61st day to the 64th day, I lost everything I made in 60 days, plus 3 times that amount in just 3 more days.
What is it like at night when you lose? What does that feel like?
It's an emotion. It's a tremendous emotion that just goes through every fiber of you, and you lay there awake all night, and you say, why? You ask yourself why.
But for the successful trader, losing is incorporated into the overall win.
5 years now, I've never ever once had one morning where I just couldn't wait to get down there. I mean, I go down there every day, and I love it.
No, he never bring his work home. He always called me and say, well, I'm going to play racquetball tonight. And I say, oh, thanks God. He's going to beat the ball instead of me, He get all his frustration out, and then he comes home and he's my little pew-pew that I have at home.
Always an intense competitor, Marshall continues to play this game like his life depended on his winning. It doesn't. He just plays that way all the time.
You have to have the game. You don't have the game, you go home, you're all pinned up, you got everything tied up in you, and you're on, you're strung up.
What are some of the other things that guys do to get the tension out of their system?
Some of them drink, some of them, play with their girls, some guys sail, some everything. But
right.
For me, it's got to be physical exercise.
My kind of town, Chicago is my kind of razzmatazz.
Like all and traders, Marshall leads the good life, but it's not easy street. The traders pay in pressure with ulcers and prematurely gray hair. While we may know what tomorrow will bring, they never do, because only the markets will tell.
This is to free enterprise.
Most of the successes in this industry are white, Jewish, and male. In fact, only 50 of the 1,300 traders here are women. But in Detroit, there's a Commodities Corporation president who is different. She is black. We'll meet her tomorrow on my report. Deborah Conklin, News 4, Detroit. Not everyone who works in the commodities market goes to work in Chicago. Some traders have offices in Detroit, like the very successful Beverly Daniel.
I'm not a morning person. I have to listen to this thing every day.
When Beverly Daniel gets up for work, she means it. She's ready, and baby, you ain't seen the best of her yet. To date, she's the only woman in the United States to start her own commodity corporation. Before getting hooked by the fast lane, she practiced law in Detroit and Ann Arbor, and now, 5 years into commodities, she's a success with the 14-karat gold wheels to prove it.
One thing you got to feel, excuse me, on that gold, would you call the client and know that we would feel exactly at...
You're highly visible in your industry, aren't you?
Well, yes, I am, I guess. There are very few women in the industry. And at this point, I am the only black woman who owns a company in the industry. You know, in this industry, if you display some degree of competence, nobody really notices. Things move so fast that nobody really notices whether you're a woman or black or whatever, because we're all concerned about trying to work this market to make money with it.
5 years ago, she successfully invested her own capital. Within a few months, she was trading for a friend, and then she started her own business with one other woman as secretary. Today, the payroll includes some 60 people. In 5 years, she's seen it all.
I have clients who have made, if I can be a Webster's dictionary for a minute, humongous amounts of money trading in commodities. I have a client who has gone from 5 digits to the very, very large millions.
Have you ever lost everything?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Like some of her counterparts in Chicago, she has discovered the business is not just about making money, but about staying in the game.
My entire well-being and livelihood is one big risk. I call it living on the edge, but it makes life very, very exciting.
That excitement entices people from all walks of life.
I was a counselor for youth development.
I also raise Arabian show horses.
I sold clothing, retail clothing.
I taught Wendy Ward and a few different charm schools.
In an uncanny way, it seems Beverly Daniel was born for the market. By her own admission, she has what it takes.
Well, I think you have to be a little bit out of touch with reality.
Every day, she and the other traders in the pits of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange see what's happening to our commodities 6 months before we feel it. Tomorrow, their vision and advice.
A good basic investment for anybody?
Commodity trading, that is, should be a small part.
In Detroit especially, it's an adverse situation.
I'm talking about survival.
Deborah Conklin, News 4 Tonight. The system of trading commodities in futures markets was established for one purpose alone, to give the farmer some assurance that he'll receive a fair price for his goods months before it's actually time to sell. But in the exchanges today, only 5% of the contracts are ever delivered. The rest is pure price speculation. That's what all the yelling is about. These people are simply trading with one another back and forth, back and forth. Contracts for the same goods pass hands several times. That fact raises an important question. Does all that speculation raise the retail price of goods? Do we pay more because of this system?
Whatever the price of a commodity on a given day is, and by the time it gets from the raw state through the manufacturers or whatever into you, you will either pay more or less for it as a result of it. It determines what you pay for everything, including interest rates on your home and at the grocery store and the clothes you buy and everything.
But Jack Sander, chairman of the board of the Merck, says the basic law is still supply and demand.
There's no way that this market can raise prices for any period of time at all. Once in a while, maybe at the futures market, everybody thinks the market's going to go higher. They'll all buy the market, and maybe the guy in the cash market with his cattle might hold off for an hour or two. That's the most that would happen.
Speculation has nothing to do whatsoever with making prices move up or down, at least not beyond a very temporary stage.
Their opinions are supported by the results of a Stanford Research Institute paper which concluded we would pay 22% more for food products without the futures market. This is the free and open market in its purest form. For everyone who wins, someone loses. But that is the beauty of the system. The survivors see that and more. From Marshall Wright, The Sage.
I think everybody should buy some junk silver coins. And by that we mean pre-1965 U.S. coinage. Dimes and quarters and 50-cent pieces and silver dollars used to be solid silver, okay? And in 1965 we started coining funny money. Why? Because the silver content was worth more than a quarter. What does that tell you about what the dollar's worth?
From Maury Kravitz, the man who trades more gold than anyone else in the United States.
Commodity trading, that is, should be a small part of a hard asset type of portfolio, so long as the person is generally equipped to handle that kind of situation.
Personal advice from Jack Sander, a man who worked his way from high school dropout to lawyer to chairman of the board of the Merck.
The first thing is you have to say to yourself you want to be a success at something, you want to achieve. And once you make that commitment, then you have to figure out what it takes. And one of the ingredients, among others, the most important, is hard work.
Hard work and a feel for the market. That's what put them where they are. 222 Riverside, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. When I first met Maury Kravitz, the man who's traded more gold than anyone else in the United States, I told him I would call him a money master. And he said, rather you should call me the man who dances between raindrops without getting wet. Well, Maury, in Detroit, we dance between raindrops too. And no matter what tough economic times befall us, the question is not whether we'll survive, but how well we dance. Deborah Conklin, News 4, Detroit. At dawn, before most of Chicago has stirred,